Have you ever looked up at the sky, seen a paraglider, and just thought, man, I wish I could do that? Well, today, we're going to break down exactly how that dream becomes a reality. We're going to walk through the 5 core skills you need for your very first flight, the sled ride, from the moment your feet leave the ground to that perfect soft touchdown.
So let's just imagine this is your journey. We're going to put you in the pilot seat and walk you through every single thought, every movement, every critical decision. We're going from the training hill to the open sky, giving you a real feel for what it takes to fly.
So first things first, what in the world is a sled ride? Don't get ahead of yourself and picture these huge soaring flights. No, this is your first time up. It's short, it's straight, and it's always in calm, easy air. The whole point here is to build that fundamental muscle memory for launching, flying, and landing safely. This is the absolute bedrock of your entire paragliding career. Okay, let's kick things off with phase 1, the launch and the look around. Getting airborne is so much more than just running fast. It's a really precise technique to make sure your wing is 100% flying before you even think about leaving the ground. This right here, this is probably the single biggest mistake every student makes. On the left, you see what happens when you feel that first tug of lift and you stop running. The wing just loses all its energy and you kind of just plop down on the hillside. But on the right, that's the pro move. You have to commit. You run through that lift with power until you are well and truly flying away from the hill. The second your feet are off the ground, guess what? Your job is not done. Actually, one of your most important jobs is just getting started. It's time for a critical scan. First, you look up. Make sure that wing is open, pressurized, looking good. Then you look left and right. Is your airspace clear? No other pilots? No obstacles? And finally, you look down. Have you actually cleared the hill? Only after all that do you get comfy and settle into your harness. So, you launch perfectly, you did your checks, you're flying. Now what? Well, now it's time to actually master the art of flying. And this all comes down to 2 things, managing your speed and controlling your direction. Let's break it down. You've got to understand this concept of trim speed. This is your wing's happy place. It's the speed it wants to fly at when your hands are all the way up and you're giving it 0 brake input. It's not just the most efficient state, it's also the safest. The number 1 rule when you start is to trust your wing. Let it fly at trim. Now, think of trim speed as your home base. From there, you've got this whole airspeed toolkit you can play with. Add just a little bit of brake, and you get your best glide, which is perfect for covering the most distance. Bring the brakes down to about shoulder level, and now you're in minimum sync. This is where you're descending as slowly as possible, kind of like a leaf floating down from a tree. And that brings us to something that is absolutely critical for your safety. Pulling your brakes down to your waist, or God forbid, any lower, that is a serious no-go zone in normal flight. That much brake can cause the wing to stall, which means it just stops flying, or it could go into a spin. So, especially when you're starting out, just don't go there.
Okay, how about turning? Well, it's kind of like a 2-step dance. You don't just yank on a control. First, you lean. You shift your weight in the harness toward the direction you want to go. Then, and only then, do you smoothly add a little brake on that same side. Remember that. Weight shift first, then brake. That's the secret to a beautiful, coordinated turn. And listen, we're not trying to be fighter pilots on these first flights, okay? The goal here is to show you can make nice, gentle turns, somewhere between 15 and 30 degrees. This proves to your instructors that you're in control, and you can handle the wing with a little bit of smoothness and precision. All right, you've nailed the launch, you're cruising around, making nice turns. But what goes up must come down. It's time to talk about maybe the most technical and most rewarding part of the flight, the landing. A good landing isn't luck. It's a skill that comes from a solid plan. So before you even think about that final flare, your approach has to be on point. First, always plan to land into the wind. It slows you way down. Second, fly a predictable path to burn off your altitude. Nice straight lines or gentle S-turns. And third, here's a pro tip, don't stare at your landing spot. Look about 20 feet past it. It'll keep you from flaring too high. Landing is all about timing, and this slide shows you exactly why. If you flare way too high, say at 10 feet, the wing is going to surge up, stop flying, and then just drop you. Not fun. But if you flare too late, or not at all, you're going to come in way too hot with too much forward speed, and you might have to do a roll to dissipate that energy.
So the perfect flare is just one smooth, committed, beautiful motion. Around 10 feet high, you get ready, your hands are up, you're flying at trim, then when your feet are just a couple of feet off the grass, that's when you start. You drive both hands down smoothly but firmly all the way past your hips. You're basically converting all your forward speed into one final bit of lift. And I love this quote because it perfectly describes what you're aiming for. When you nail the timing, there's no big impact, there's no running for your life. You just stop in the air and you step onto the ground like you're stepping off a curb. I mean, how cool is that? That's the mark of a great landing. Okay, we have covered a ton of information. So let's bring it all home. We're going to put it all side by side. The most common mistakes students make, and the pro fixes that are going to turn you into an expert pilot from day one. Let's do a quick fire round. Launching? Don't you dare try to sit down early. Keep those legs moving. Turns? You're not staring a shopping cart. Keep that outside hand up at trim. Airspeed? Stop flying with heavy hands. Trust your wing and let it fly. And landing? Don't reach for the ground with your feet. Keep them down, under you, and ready to run just in case.
You see, the sled ride isn't just one flight. It's like learning the alphabet. And once you know the alphabet, you can write poetry in the sky. By really nailing these fundamental skills, you're not just passing a test, you're opening the door to a whole lifetime of adventure. So the only real question left is, what's your next horizon?